What do you think? Let's see if I can get this in a better position here. I got to raise it up. Can you not do that, please? Appreciate it. No, please stop. All right, guys, we're back in the kitchen again. Hi, my name is Jen. The video that I want to make today is I am going to make and can up my beef cabbage soup. It's so yummy. I can literally eat an entire quart of this. Excuse me, dear. I can literally eat an entire quart of this all by myself. It's pretty easy. It's a pretty easy recipe. I got this recipe from a friend at work. She actually called it diet soup because she didn't add the beef. I have tried it. I have made it without the beef, but it makes me incredibly gassy. So I gotta add some protein into it. This cat's gonna kill me, I swear. It's like this fun game now for her. I did a lot of the prep work yesterday for this soup. I'm gonna show you, she's coming back again. You better quit. So I actually have the original recipe sitting over here and I'll show it to you. I think I have a clip, I'll put it in right here of the prep work, what I did to prep the meat and then prep the tomatoes. So these are the cuts of beef. I'm using 2 cuts of chuck roast. So I'm putting them in the crock pot. I put a few bouillon cubes in there, beef bouillon cubes, along with some of this all-purpose seasoning from Blackstone. I use it very generously, as you can see, and then a little bit of water. And I cook these on low, nice and slow, for probably 10 hours, and then I leave them in there just warm for a while too. And then over in this roaster, I have all of my frozen tomatoes. I think there's probably 5 2-gallon bags that I thawed and cooked down and then pureed. I cook them overnight, probably around 275 to 300 degrees, so just kind of low and slow. So I use my homegrown tomatoes for the cans. In the recipe, you'll see that it says cans of tomato puree. Well, I just puree my own tomatoes. So let me show you what I got going on right here. Okay, so I do have some cabbage soup meat from the last time I made this cabbage soup. Oh, it looks like it's even got a carrot in there. Maybe some potatoes. I'm gonna throw this in with it too, but this is the, so once the meat's done, I think I throw it in the crock pot, I let it in there, sit in there for 10 hours, and then it is just magnificent. Just fell right off. I took all the fat off of it. I don't like clumps of fat, so I go through all the meat and clean it off really well. Then I also shredded up all the cabbage and cut up 2 stalks of celery. I'm making a ton of this soup, so this is going to be a heck of a lot more than the recipe. I have one of my small cabbages. I'm not great at growing cabbage, but this is a purple cabbage I'm going to clean up and chop up and put in there. But this is the original recipe. So this, for the spring onions, I'm actually using my onion tops. So these were frozen, they're mushy, but they'll still add the same kind of flavor to the dish. And then it calls for a bunch of celery. So I've got 2, whoop, I got it all yucky. And then green peppers, 2 green peppers. Well, I've got, I think, like 6 or 7 peppers in one of the bottom of these bowls somewhere. It calls for a head of cabbage. So I've got 4 heads of cabbage. 2 cans of crushed tomatoes, and then to the crushed tomatoes you add water, so you kind of water it down, and then 2 envelopes of onion soup mix, and then if you want it to be spicy, crushed red pepper. Well, I have this dried pepper powder, and I'm probably going to add just a little bit of that, just a tiny bit. I'm not a fan of hot stuff, so this has some pretty hot peppers in it. Sugar Rush Peach Stripey, Sugar Rush Peach. I think there's one called Inferno in here, but I'll add a little bit of that in place of the red pepper flakes. So how am I going to go about doing this? So this is probably 5 2-gallon bags of tomatoes. I've cooked it down a bit, but I'm going to separate it, and some of it into this, some of it into this, and then I also have a pot on the stove here. I'm gonna put some of it into this pot. So this is gonna be the pot that I actually keep to eat for the rest of the week. So I've got it all separated out, some in there, some in there, some in the big pot there. Now I'm just gonna add all the ingredients, just separate all of this stuff except for the meat. I'm gonna put the meat in last. I'm gonna cook up the cabbage and all of the greens and the celery, the peppers, and I'm gonna cook it down until it's, you know, ready to be canned. I'll add the meat, but I'm also adding, so it calls for 2 packages of onion soup mix. So I find that when you can, things can sometimes not be as flavorful. So I'll usually over add spices. Like when I do my chili, I'll over add spices. When I do this, I'll double the amount of onion soup mix I add. Plus, it, you know, how can spices be bad? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna add 4 packages to each one of these containers, even the one that I'm gonna keep out and you keep in the fridge after it's done. Like I said, you can omit the meat if you want, and this can just be like a really diet type soup, but this is just, I think it's so delicious. And I always add extra cabbage as well. I love lots of cabbage. But, gosh, cabbage is expensive right now. I think each head of cabbage, what, like $3.50? Like, what the heck? I'm almost down. I think I've got like 5 jars from last year's canning left. And I've been like, trying to, like, you know, I could eat it every day. So I'm making a lot this year. I've got a lot of tomatoes down in the freezer, ready to become part of cabbage soup canning season. I'm also going to try my hand at making and canning up some vegetable soup too. I might take you guys along with me with that journey. I'm gonna stir, get that all mixed in there. Now before I go to can, I will taste it. If I think I'm gonna need more onion soup mix, I will add it. I think this does need some water down though, but I think I'll wait till the cabbage cooks down a little bit, because of course that's gonna add some water. All right, let's add in, I don't know which one of these has the peppers, but I just cut my cabbage into, whoops, cabbage everywhere, into big old chunks. Okay, so this is just cabbage. Put the cabbage that one there. Add a bag of green onions to each of them. But these are actually onion tops. So when I grow onions, I harvest the tops like halfway through their growing season. Chop them up and put them in the fridge and use them as you would like green onions. They have a really great flavor. And there's a lot of them. So, all right, I'm gonna finish putting the cabbage in. All right, I've made it to the peppers and the celery. So I need to evenly distribute that as well in here. I'm going to add a little bit of water to both of these, but I'll add the hot pepper powder to it when this is cooked down a little bit more. Yeah, I'm going to add a little bit of water to both of them. So while these are cooking down, I am going to get all my jars ready for when I go to can this evening. I'm going to get them all sterilized, cleaned up, get the lids ready. Get my canners ready because I'm adding meat to this, it needs to be pressure canned. I would pressure can it even without the meat, just being me. I don't know that you would have to, but I would. I think that you probably should pressure can this because of all the vegetables that are in it, but I'm not, yeah. I haven't looked it up, I just pressure can it because it's got meat in it. Okay, it is time to start jarring this stuff up. I am going to turn them off because my golly, they are boiling out of control. Oh, if you could smell my house right now. I already had a bowl. I need to put the meat in. Let me put this meat in. My hands are clean, I just washed them. So I'm just gonna divide this meat in half. It smells so good. I used the meat that was in the freezer from before. That was what went in that pot. So I'm gonna let this meat kind of warm up and, okay, the rest in here. Oh yeah, now I'm gonna wash my hands. Ugh. All right, I added the meat in, that's the last thing. I'm gonna let this go. I'm gonna turn these. So I'm gonna stir up the meat now, make sure it's incorporated really well. And I did wanna say, I did end up adding, like I said, I don't think there can be too much seasoning to things. I added another packet, one more packet of onion soup mix to each of these. Big old, what are these? These are 18 quarts. This one's 18 quarts. This one might be 16 quarts, I'm not sure. It's a little smaller, so I'm thinking it's like 16 quarts. But I also added 3 of these beef bouillon cubes. So, like I said, I just think that, you know, when you taste something, if you feel like it needs more flavor, just add more flavor. And I did add a little bit of my hot pepper powder. Let me taste this one here. Ooh. I barely put any of that hot pepper powder in there. It's strong. Strong but good. It's not hot. You can just taste the pepper. Yeah, it's not like burning my mouth or anything, but that's yummy. Okay. So how long did I leave these in here? So because I'm going to be cooking these even more in the pressure canner, I didn't want to cook the cabbage completely tender, but it is very close. Once it's canned, it'll be completely tender. But yeah, the cabbage is, I think I've been cooking it for 2 to 2.5 hours in these roasters. At first I was like slow cooking it, and then I turned up the heat, and when I came back out here it was boiling. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna do quart jars. Fill them up, leave 1 inch of head space, and then I'm going to put them in the pressure canner, do the 10-minute, wait till steam is coming out of the, I'm not sure what that's called, steam is coming out of the hole for 10 minutes, put the weight on, and then you're gonna pressure can it for 90 minutes, or check your elevation. You might have to, at 10 to 11 pounds per square inch, or at a different elevation, you might have to do 12 pounds per square inch. But you're gonna can it for 90 minutes because it's got meat in it and you're doing quarts. If you're doing pints, 75 minutes. Make sure you get all of the air bubbles out of each jar. And then I use a vinegar-soaked paper towel to make sure I clean the rims of the jars really well. I usually will go over them twice before I put the lids and the rings on. Okay guys, so I finished editing the video to this recipe and me cooking it up and canning it, and I realized that I didn't actually finish showing you after all of the cans came out of the cooker, or I didn't do a thumbnail. So I just took the picture for the thumbnail, I think what's going to be the thumbnail, and let me show you how a few of the cans, I already took the cans upstairs and packed them away on my canning shelves, but it's actually several weeks later, and I put some in a bowl for the thumbnail. It's not the most appetizing looking soup, but it's delicious. It's incredible. So delicious. And there's some of the cans. I did have some siphoning that happened, but that's okay. It's still, I've opened up a quart jar. It's delicious. It's still delicious. So there is what is originally, the name of it is called diet soup, but I made it even better by adding protein to it. Let me know in the comments if you end up making this soup, if you liked it, or not if you liked it. I know you'll like it. Let me know. If you like cabbage, you'll love this soup. Let me know how much you liked it in the comments. And if you have any other soups that you love, let me know in the comments what those are too. And until the next day in the kitchen with me, guys, I hope you enjoy your day. Bye. So I'm gonna get Ben to do a taste test for me to try this out.
Let me get some meat. Delicious.
You're just making fun of me.
Yes. It's pretty good.
Pretty good?
I like it. I'll eat it. Can I have this? I'll eat this one.